So how do you balance those two? There is an immediate goal that has to be made. We got to win this game right now, and we need somebody who can do it. Maybe they're not the perfect fit long term, but they can put out this fire. And at the same time, you can't live moment to moment. You can't just live fire to fire. You've got to have a long-term plan. And I don't know whether we balance those two out well together.
It's
here.
a challenge. There's no question. It's definitely a challenge. Well, so our permanent business, we'll go out and do a retained search. And in my practice, we've gotten the time down to about 60 days. So we can solve short-term problems. It's about half the industry average, by the way. So when our clients hire us and say, I need a VP of sales or I need a chief financial officer or CEO, they do want that person yesterday, but they want the right person. We have a saying, I'd rather have the right person a day later than the wrong person a day earlier.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now, and just explain the difference, because that's been something I've learned about. Retained search is not something I grew up with. I grew up in the world where you were all called headhunters.
Yeah.
And you were just there dialing for dollars, trying to get interested people and to fill a position. And if you filled it first, you got the commission and everybody else lost. But this retained idea is a whole different approach. Talk about somebody pays you a fee to go to find somebody to fill a job.
Can I tell him a story?
Sure, go ahead.
So when I started doing a little bit of consulting with Rod, he said, listen, I have to sit you back down here and say, and you've got to remember, this is the mantra. We don't find people jobs. We find jobs people. It's that simple, Paul. Right? So headhunters.
Say that again. So
we don't find
there's a
people
job
jobs
that needs a person in it.
But we find jobs people. So it's very consultative. I'll let Rod kind of build on
Sure.
that. But I love that it was super simple and easier to explain.
And how long has that been going on? Am I just out of it and I haven't been looking for a job in a long time? Or is
We're not going to say that about you, Paul. Come on.
Or is that a relatively new phenomenon here?
No, it's been going on as long as our industry's been around. There's a misnomer out there where people think that recruiters, whether you're retained executive search or contingency or any other kind of recruiter, find people jobs. That's not how any of us work. When none of us find people jobs, we're all working for the client. And the client is the company that hires us to go find them.
But there are people that I could go to, aren't there? If I've laid off executive that I go and they go try and find me, they're working for me. I don't know whether I pay them a fee or not, but...
Yeah, there's some out there. I actually don't know of any really good ones. There's some that, every year or two you hear about companies that are kind of brought up on charges because they charge $5,000 for, and they tell somebody they're going to land them a job and they don't. There's outplacement firms which are really good, which basically teach people how to do this themselves. Because at the end of the day, if you're out of work and you're looking for a job, you have to learn the process of job search. And it's weird. For an executive, let's say somebody who's been working 20 years, 25 years, and never been in transition. They might have had 2 or 3 jobs, 2 or 3 different companies, but they've never actually had to look for a job before. It's really new. It's really scary. It's lonely. It's hard.